this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's Wednesday. On some date in November. I'll find out exactly what the date is. I'll find out later on. I'll Google it or something like that. It'll be fine. All my research team have just looked it up on... They've binged it. And apparently it's the 6th. Well done. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed. Lots coming up on the show this morning, including... Well, you can buy all kinds of things at Milton Keynes Market. You can get massive boxes of washing powder, cheap sweets, legal highs... Well, they're legal, so that means they must be safe, right? Well, we'll be talking to a man who claims his stepdaughter ended up in hospital after smoking something brought from one of its stalls. Hertfordshire Police will be making you safer. Well, actually, you'll be making you safer. Police Commissioner David Lloyd's planning to boost the Thin Blue Line with volunteers. Fancy it? And Justin Dealey's been hanging around public toilets talking to strange men. But he's been holding his microphone in his hand, so that's got to be okay, hasn't it? Hasn't it? Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, or you could give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Milton Keynes Market, the home of cheeky banter, mobile phone cases, e-cigarettes, legal highs. Legal highs? Well, they're legal, so they're not against the law yet, and that means they must be safe, surely. Well, perhaps not. We can talk to Adam Parton from Milton Keynes, who has personal experience on this. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Ian.
Adam, you got one of those phone calls that all parents dread, didn't you? What happened?
Yeah, unfortunately. We were sat in the house one afternoon, and we got a phone call from one of Jasmine's friends.
Now, Jasmine is your daughter?
Jasmine's my stepdaughter. She's 16.
16. OK, right, thank you.
And basically, after college, Jasmine had gone up to a local meeting point at the city centre, where one of her acquaintances, it's not a friend, but someone she knew, offered her a rolled-up cigarette. So Jasmine said, yeah, OK, I'll have one of those. And after a couple of, I don't know what you'd call it, I suppose it'd be drags or pulls on it.
Yep.
The guy who handed it to her told her that she'd actually just smoked a legal high. So Jasmine obviously said, okay, I don't want any more of that. And it was shortly after that that the effects started to take hold of Jasmine. She said she found it difficult to breathe. She said she was experiencing kind of audio and visual hallucinations. She kind of described it as she had spiders crawling over her skin.
Oh, dear.
Exactly. She said her breathing went really shallow and she was kind of there but wasn't, if you know what I mean. Her reaction actually prompted one of her friends to actually call 999 and get an ambulance out to come and take her to the hospital.
And so you're at home, and who phoned you up?
It was actually the friend who called the ambulance for Jasmine, called us up and told us that, explained to us what happened.
Yeah.
And told us that she'd literally just been taken down to the hospital. I'm
assuming you rushed down to the hospital.
Yeah, I went and picked up my partner, Jasmine's mum, from work, and we obviously rushed down to the hospital. And Jasmine was sat there in A&E, and she was, well, I can only be described as she was sat there slouched in a chair like a drunk. We went over to her, tried speaking to her, and she was incoherent. She was very, very slow and lethargic, and all the colour had just drained out of her skin completely.
What did you? How long did it take for her to recover, Adam?
It was about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
For the effects of it to completely wear off.
Yeah. And did you go to the market and see what was going on?
No, we spoke to Jasmine since what happened, and we weren't aware that these things were available to buy at the market. But Jasmine says that her kind of age group, it's common knowledge that you can go and buy these things down the market.
And have you spoken to the police about this, Adam?
We did. We spoke to the police the afternoon that we were at the hospital. We spoke to 2 police officers that were outside A&E. We told them what had obviously happened with Jasmine that afternoon. And we said, as far as we're aware, it's part of a bigger problem of the social drug taking in the city centre at Milton Keynes. They did actually assure us that they would go down that afternoon or that evening and check it out.
I suppose the problem is, Adam, being practical, if these drugs are legal, there's not a lot that can be done at the moment, is there?
I think, that is the problem, isn't it? They are legal. There's nothing stopping a market vendor from selling these things on his market stall. And there doesn't seem to be any limitation on what age you can buy these things at. Jasmine said that, she knows of 15, 16-year-olds who can go to the market stall and freely buy them. There's no questions asked. What
would you like to see changed, Adam? What needs to be done, in your opinion?
I think it's time for... There needs to be some consequences for these people who sell these legal highs. I know they're legal to sell, but, I mean, God forbid, had Jasmine died, whose blame does the doorstep, whose blame does it lie at? Whose fault is it? I think the government need to kind of step in and kind of say, right, we're going to carry out some research on this drug, on these drugs, different drugs, find out what's going into them. Because surely it can't be healthy things that are going into these drugs if they're causing that kind of reaction in people.
Adam, listen, Jasmine's well and fine, is she now?
She is now, fortunately, yeah.
Excellent stuff. I appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for coming on. That's Adam talking about his stepdaughter Jasmine, who smoked, who knows what she smoked. Something that was bought in Milton Keynes Market. Well, have you been down there? It's been a while since I've been to Milton Keynes Market. Have you been down there? Have you seen these legal highs? Maybe you partake in them. Could you give me a call if you do? I'm interested to find out why you do. They're not illegal, so if you do smoke them or drink them or snort them or whatever you do with them, then drop them, then you shouldn't have a problem coming on to talk about it, should you? 08459 455 555. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Ever taken a legal high? Was it fun? 08459 455 555. Was it? Or was it absolutely hideous? And should they be sold in places like Milton Keynes Market? It seems a little bit odd, doesn't it, that anyone can rock up and I'll have some of that, a little bit of that, and let's have a couple of bags of that, shall we? For the weekend. 08459 455 555. Also this morning we have St Justin Dealey out to stand in public toilets and sidle up to men and chat to them. I know. I say we made him. It was his idea. The reason is, turns out we've got some excellent public toilets in the Three Counties area. Well, I'm going to ask the question. What's your favourite public toilet? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. 525,600. Oh dear. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Now, you may remember a while back the NHS was talking about a plan that sounded rather swish. It was called Healthier Together. The promise was that health services across Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes and Northampton would be reorganised to suit you better, meaning that you'd be able to get the care you need, perhaps not in hospital, but in the community or even in your own home. Oh, and it might involve downgrading your local hospital, something health executives were keen to play down, but it did cause a huge political stink. Well, after spending £2 million looking into it, they've decided it's not the way to go, and now they're poised to launch another review. Well, our reporter Tony Fisher joins me in the studio. Tony, you've been looking at this. What do we know about the scrapping of this Healthier Together review?
Well, Ian, little reported, certainly not by us. The programme ran for a year before it finished in March. It believed it came too much of a hot potato during the Corby by-election when Louise Menchu, remember, gave up her seat. And now 200 clinicians in 6 different working groups developed proposals which were never published, never saw the light of day, which critics feared would involve the downgrading, as you pointed to, of Bedford Hospital and Kettering Hospital. By the same token, services would be centred around hospitals in Milton Keynes, Northampton and Luton. Now, last night there was a scrutiny committee, joint scrutiny committee meeting involving councillors from both Bedfordshire, Central Beds Council and Bedford Borough. Councillor Louise King sits on that council, and I spoke to her last night.
We've got the knowledge, obviously, of a large amount of money that was spent on Healthier Together. That was 2.2 million that has effectively been kicked into the long grass. We've seen the paediatric services review, which may or may not continue, depending on what happens tomorrow. We don't know how much that cost us yet. and now potentially we're looking at another much wider review, the cost of which is unknown. But I am concerned about these ongoing costs that are being accrued with reviews that seem to go nowhere.
So what does Healthier Together say?
Well, Ian, in a letter written by Dr. Paul Hassan, who was the Senior Responsible Officer for Healthier Together, to interested parties back in March this year, he spoke about the programme finishing, but he didn't explain why. Basically, he says it'll now be taken forward by the local clinical commissioning groups. So in the 3 counties, that involves Milton Keynes and Bedfordshire. Now, in that letter, he says, and I quote, CCGs recognise that the status quo is not sustainable clinically or financially and remain absolutely committed to taking the work of Healthier Together forward. More clinicians, even more clinicians at a local level, will be engaged. In addition to those who have been involved, there will be continue to be strong commitment to patient and public engagement in this process. Now, I asked for a statement from Bedfordshire Clinical Commissioning Group, who are taking this project on. They say Healthier Together produced some valuable analysis of regional healthcare, but when we took over the commissioning role from the Primary Care Trust, we realised the programme overall could not deliver for people in Bedfordshire. Any future review must involve genuine discussion with local people. So quite a damning statement there of Healthier Together, and that was reflected in the meeting that I went to last night, where they said the presentation was much better than they'd ever had from Healthier Together.
And today there's a meeting, lots of meetings, a meeting today to discuss a consultation into the review of health services across Bedfordshire.
Yeah, it gets confusing. So there are more reviews coming up. Basically, as we know, there were concerns raised earlier about the supervision of training of young doctors at the Paediatric Department of Bedford Hospital. This led to the General Medical Council and Health Education England withdrawing junior doctors from paediatrics. As a result, Bedford Hospital's been unable to run key children's services, including A&E and inpatients. So Bedfordshire Clinical Commissioning Group responded. They launched a consultation. That's now finished. They reported back to the Scrutiny Committee last night, pointed to 1 or 2 areas like value for money, more care in the communities, that sort of thing. That's one review. Now, a wider review of healthcare services, not just paediatrics, is being discussed today. This follows the CQC report, which showed failings elsewhere in Bedford Hospital. We know Bedford Hospital's finances are under serious pressure, and that meeting is taking place at the Bedford Corn Exchange. So that's a review into health services across Bedfordshire, following on from the review of paediatric services. You still with me? There's also another review involving 3 national NHS bodies, faceless bodies, NHS England, Monitor, Trust Development Agency, about its concerns, and this review will also include paediatric services and also possibly a possible merger between Bedford Hospital and Milton Keynes Hospital. But how the Bedfordshire Clinical Commissioning Group review fits into this won't become clear until later today.
They love their reviews.
Lots and lots of reviews, lots of money being spent. Healthier Together, more like Healthier Untogether.
I see what you did there, and I like it. Thank you, Tony Fisher. 08459 455 555. What's your favourite public toilet? You got one? Sorry to put you on the spot.
I don't have one, but I did go to one in Milton Keynes once when it was just being launched. It was very exciting. It was in Stony Stratford, and I was sent as a young cub reporter to go and flush the loo in this brand new facility.
Wow.
It was very exciting.
Good flushing?
It's actually just around the corner from where they filmed a scene of Withnail and I.
08459 455 555. We're talking toilets this morning. I know. Don't be rude. Jen of Houghton Regis says, unfortunately, Dunstable Town Centre is devoid of public toilets. But if you're caught short, I can recommend the Costa Coffee Shop. You can sneak in there even if you're not having a coffee. Now, here's a problem, Jen. Here's a problem I have. I hate sneaking into places to use their toilets. I find it really difficult. And what I do is I have to pick somewhere... I did it the other day. Where did I go... the other day, I can't remember. Anyway, what I do is I have my mobile phone and I pretend I'm trying to find my friend in there. So I go, Steve, it's always Steve. I don't speak to Steve anymore. I don't know, maybe he found out I was using him to use toilets, I don't know. Steve, yeah, I'm just coming in now. Whereabouts? You're at the back. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, listen, I'll do it really loudly so I can be heard by the stuff. Yeah, okay, I'll just go to the loo, mate, and then I'll come out and find you. All right. Yeah, I'm just going now. Okay. Bye. And I'll do that. I could never walk into a pub and use their toilet. I couldn't do that at all. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning! Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio at 6:33. This part of the show, I'm quite often joined by Justin Daly. Good morning. Okay. And Catherine Boyle. Good morning.
And hi.
You worked. If you'll give us a call and join in, you're more than welcome to. In the next 15 minutes, we'll be talking public toilets, and we'll be talking, well, we're having a look at the newspapers. Do feel free to chip in. 08459 455 555. Morning! It's Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. I read an interesting book. I read half of an interesting book about Paul McCartney. You've got that book as well, Catherine.
Yeah, I've not started on it yet.
I started at about page 206. After the, I know the Beatles story. I don't know the Wings and the Paul McCartney solo years stories. It's good. Well, it's all right.
Is it good?
It's okay.
It's a big book. Before I start, is it worth it?
It's an easy read.
Is it?
It's an easy read.
Is it easier than the Bee Gees? Because I haven't cracked that one yet.
How far have you got into that Bee Gees book?
Not very.
You've had that 3 months.
It feels like written by someone who really loves the Bee Gees.
No, he hates them.
Well, he talks about there was a momentous moment where a record cracked and Barry was holding it, and that's when they realised, hey, we can do our own tunes.
Have you got to the bit where they go to England?
No.
Skip to about page 80.
Right.
Jump in at page 80.
It feels wrong to do that.
No, I know what you mean. I've got past that, though, recently. Another thing I can't do is I can't write in books.
Oh. Can't
write in, but it really upsets me. It hurts my soul when my children start writing. Don't write in a book! It's special!
I know.
It's precious!
Don't rip it.
No! It's a book! Justin Dealey is here now. Morning, Just.
Morning, boss.
Now, you came rushing around the office yesterday full of excitement. Emails are flying out, texts, phone calls. I want to go and stand in public toilets and talk to men.
Well, yes, because I was tipped off by our news hound, Simon Oxley, about a very special award that's been awarded to Dunstable Town Council. They are celebrating him.
Go on, tell us why.
Because at Ashton Square, the public toilets there, in the Loo of the Year 2013 awards, they have been awarded a platinum rating. That is for exceptionally good public toilets. And let's be honest, Iain, not too many of those about.
That is wonderful news. Platinum is one better than gold.
Yes,
not quite diamond, though.
Well, you've been speaking to people about toilets in toilets.
Yes.
Is it in this actual toilet?
Well, yes, it was. It was rather strange. You are going to hear from the public a bit later on, but I have been to the toilets in Ashton Square in Dunstable. I did a little tour, which was very exciting. Here's what happened. Well, this is the moment of truth. I've just walked into the public toilets. On my left-hand side, there is a sign which reads Ashton Square Public Toilets. These toilets are provided by Dunstable Town Council, committed to providing quality public facilities. That is a good start. Right, here we are inside. It's fairly big. On my left-hand side, we have 4 cubicles. Going to take a step inside one right now. Pretty clean. Here's the flush. That's a good, strong flush. As for the toilet paper, that's pretty soft. Pretty soft for a public toilet. Going to move around to the right-hand side. I'm now in the urinal section. We have 9 urinals. Again, all pretty clean. Doesn't smell in here either. And lastly, into the sink section, 4 sinks, 2 mirrors. God, they're clean as well. And here's the dryer. Looks like it's seen better days, but it works and it's warm as well. And that completes the tour of this toilet, which I'll probably say is a pretty good public toilet as far as they go.
Wow.
I would definitely recommend this. I would definitely come back.
Has it got a visitor's book?
No, it hasn't, unfortunately, no.
Oh, Jeff says, hasn't it, Jeff?
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell me more.
There's a wonderful toilet, I bet that's platinum as well, in Gunwharf Quays shopping centre in Portsmouth.
Oh.
As you'd expect for a naval town, it's absolutely immaculate. All the brasswork is polished. It really is wonderful. Flowers on the table, always manned, and they have a visitor's book because they're so proud of their toilet.
Bit of a commute, though, if you're caught short, isn't it, Jeff?
So it's all right for people down there. And if you go down there, I mean, it's a lovely, lovely place to go. It is just unbelievably good. You wouldn't have a visitor's book unless you were rather proud of it.
Jeff, did you write in the visitor's book or look at the other things other people had written?
Well, of course I wrote in the visitor's book.
What did you write, sir?
I can't remember now. It's a year or two ago. But I probably wrote something very complimentary, because you'd want to. Somebody who's so proud of something like a toilet. And we've all seen toilets. And we've all seen manned toilets where people don't really care much. And here's a couple running a toilet, everything highly polished, spotless, flowers. It's just a joy.
Did they offer you a spritz or something as you left?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, I don't know. Would you want one?
Yeah. Jeff, listen, thank you very much indeed. Can we find a toilet better than that? I don't like the toilets in clubs and things when there is a gentleman in there. There's a lot of pressure. I can dry my own hands.
And also, now's not the time for a lollipop.
Catherine, you've been looking at the papers. What you got?
I have. There's loads. I mean, the Times today, I have the Quality Press. Hospitals full to bursting. Elderly drive record admissions as row escalates over NHS redundancies. There's a horrible story about a poor 4-year-old girl who's been killed by the family dog. It's it's one of these French Mastiffs. She's a tiny little blonde thing. Oh my God, it's so sad. 4-year-old girl died in hospital yesterday after being attacked by the family's pet dog.
We've done this before, but honestly, if you've got a big dog like that and a child, then shame on you. Shame on you. Oh, my dog would never hurt anybody. Oh, the kids climb all over my dog. Shame on you. You have no idea what that dog... I bet this family said the same thing. Oh, our dog would never do anything. You have no idea. You can never be 100% sure. What else are you seeing?
Such a powerful animal. We also
Thank you.
have... Australian drew another defeat over iconic art. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but they want it and they're not having it.
It's a picture of a kangaroo.
Yeah, but it looks like someone drew a pear and then stuck a head on the end. But this one is what caught my eye.
Go on.
Throw out your Barry White LP and that plate of oysters.
Ooh.
The best way to boost your libido is to eat carrots.
Oh, I had a bag full
Heads
of...
rabbits.
Yeah, I had a bag full of carrots at the weekend. Nothing happened.
Really?
Yeah, nothing happened.
Combine it with figs and oily fish and you're hot to trot, apparently.
Dear.
While fine wine and chocolates may get you and your loved one in the mood, a mix of alcohol and fat will slow the flow of blood to your vital organs. So you've got to throw those out and eat carrots instead.
Hey, the front page of The Sun, they've actually got a good front page. You've been to a fancy dress. You went to a fancy dress party recently for Halloween, didn't you?
I'm often the instigator of fancy dress.
Who did you go as?
I went as Lily Munster.
You didn't consider going as the Twin Towers?
Heck no.
Well, these two girls have. Two 19-year-old girls, Amber Langford and Annie Collinge. They're British, but they went to a nightclub fancy dress contest in America as the Twin Towers. They're wearing huge cardboard bodies with flames bursting out of them. They won the competition. One of their dads is a pilot. And he said, he used a very interesting phrase. I'll be having a little chat later.
Ooh.
Unbelievable.
When you said they were British, I thought, OK, over here, you would not do that in America.
No. You got time for one more if you've got anything, Catherine Boyle?
Rizzle Kicks, are you aware of their work? They're a popular beat combo.
OK.
They annoyed Huey. Did you see the thing that's going around Twitter and Facebook at the moment? Huey from The Fun-Loving Criminals.
OK, this is on the Buzzcocks,
didn't enjoy their fun.
What happened?
He got the hump, smashed his mug. He got very testy. I don't know what was eating him, frankly.
Yeah.
He didn't really get the game.
No.
And then he walked out afterwards.
Oh, dear.
Phil Jupitus looked rather embarrassed for him.
He would have done. Catherine, thank you very much. 08459 455 555 if you want to have your say on any of those things or anything else. It's 6:45. It's BBC Three Counties Radio. No, listen. No. We're presented with two really bad songs there. I'm not playing the new Elton John song. I'm certainly not playing Eliza Doolittle, for goodness sakes. Kelly Betts, find me something better. I'm not playing Eliza Doolittle.
I'm doing it right now.
Something good.
Quick, wait.
There's no rush.
Quick.
There's no rush.
Oh gosh. Oh,
pressure. You see, this is the pressure.
Oh gosh.
Have you found anything yet?
Yes. You have to press stop.
Okay, let's see what she's chosen. Oh, that's much better. Well done.
Thanks.
It was worth the on-air panic. Thank you, Kelly Betts. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Now, Hertfordshire's Police and Crime Commissioner David Lloyd wants to start a Citizens Police Academy. It would teach residents how and when to intervene in crime situations and offer short, sharp training sessions that would give people the skills to keep themselves and their neighbours safe. It's part of David Lloyd's volunteer strategy, which launches today. Well, Neil Alston is from the Herts Police Federation, representing rank and file officers. Morning, Neil. David Lloyd wants to get more of the public involved in how the police is run. Is that a good or bad idea?
Morning, Ian. I think the broad theme is in line exactly with what Mr. Lloyd has taken the role of the PCC to do, which is to have a wider remit than the old police authorities. He wants to help the public understand what the police do and help them to help themselves, because we all have a part in making our communities safer, and we support it from that point of view. I do think it's a bit unfortunate. You've raised the name. I think is a bit unfortunate, and Commissioner Lloyd is uncomfortably close to Commissioner Lassard, but apart from that, I think it's probably something we would welcome. We've yet to see the full layout of it, but I think the important thing is everybody has a role to play in keeping our communities safer.
Isn't it just policing on the cheap, though, Neil?
I really, really hope not. I don't expect it to be. The police have a vital job to do. We have limited resources, but I think essential services will still be provided by the police. This is much more about, as I understand it, educating the community into what the police do and how they can play their part, because I think society has changed over the years, and I think in the past people were involved with their communities, and communities perhaps were a bit safer because people were prepared to intervene appropriately. It's not about have-a-go heroes. It is entirely about people understanding, well, let's all make our society safer.
Let's go through some of the things he's proposing and see what you think. I mean, one of the things is teaching the public how and when to intervene in crimes. At first glance, Neil, that feels a little bit dangerous and almost vigilanteism. Is that a good idea?
I think it depends what's taught, of course. The devil, as always, is in the detail. But I think the when is a very important aspect. Obviously, when someone intervenes, or to what extent, I think it's useful that people can understand A, the law, and B, what they can do. And most of the time, obviously, it's going to be about being a good witness, making sure they record things, and making sure things are brought to the attention of the police. There are occasions when people can, just a word may help. It's about people understanding and feeling supported by their police, and understanding what's appropriate and what's not.
He wants more special constables.
Special constables are great as long as they are doing the things that we'd like to do but can't, as opposed to doing the things that we must do. We have to be resourced to carry out the role that we must do. But if special constables augment the service, that's great. But we don't want special constables replacing.
Well, as I say, this must be a worry for you, because you've already lost something like 400 staff. By having more volunteers, there is a chance that you might lose more jobs. Is that a concern?
That's what we in the Federation will be pushing against, but I think Mr. Lloyd's being a proper PCC in that he's widened the remit of the PCC to involve other agencies and the community, which we would support. Yes, we need to retain our services, and to be honest, it might be that as the public get involved and see what police do day in, day out, they might recognise that how poorly resourced we are.
Mm. Neil, listen, we'll follow this story closely. I appreciate your time this morning. That's Neil Alston, who is from the Herts Police Federation. Well, we'll be speaking to David Lloyd later on in the show. What do you think? Would you like to be trained up to be part of this Citizens Police Academy? It is a bad name. You can't call it that, Mr. Lloyd. 08459 455 555. Do we need to take more of a responsibility in society to stop and prevent things that are happening? Or is it down to the police? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Would you wade in if you saw something going on? It depends. It depends what it was. I'm not sure, really. It's a tough one, isn't it? Also, where's the best public toilet in Beds, Herts and Bucks? I know, we're straying very close to Partridge territory, but I think we can just get away with it. Facebook.com/BBC3CR, or you can send me an email, Iain.lee, I-A-I-N, I spell it the correct way, Iain.lee @bbc.co.uk. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Got a bit of a dry throat, nothing a cup of tea wouldn't sort out though, so hopefully there'll be one on its way very, very soon. Lots coming up. in the next couple of hours of the show, including Milton Keynes Market. Well, we know it's a great place to go. You can get cheap sweets, massive boxes of washing powder, and legal highs. What? Yes. Well, they're legal, so that means they must be okay, right? Well, we'll be speaking to someone who indulged in these legal highs in just a few minutes. Hertfordshire Police will be making you safer. Well, actually, you'll be making you safer. Police Commissioner David Lloyd's planning to boost the thin blue line with volunteers. So, do you fancy it? Would you have a go? And Justin Dealey has been hanging around public toilets talking to strange men. But this time, he's had a microphone with him. What's the best public toilet you've ever been to? Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. You can send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR, or give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can buy all sorts of things at Milton Keynes Market these days. Cut price jeans, bumper bags of crisps, those hats that look like roadkill, and legal highs. Well, earlier on we spoke to a local gentleman whose stepdaughter was hospitalised after smoking one such substance. She and her friends thought that because it was legal, it would be safe. Well, the police say the only reason many of these drugs haven't been banned is because new ones are being invented all the time and they just can't keep up. Well, they eventually caught up with methadone, but it was too late for my next guest. It's Jack from Hertfordshire. Jack, it's not your real name. I can understand why you'd not want to use that. When did you first come across methadone?
I come across it on the internet years ago, about 5 years ago.
And how did you come across it, Jack? Were you Googling legal highs? You don't just stumble across something like that, do you?
No, I got introduced by a friend.
Right.
So...
And so you ordered some offline because it was legal then?
Yeah, I was ordering it offline when it was legal, using card because that's the payment you had to use.
And what? I don't know methadone particularly. How do you ingest it? What did you do with it, and what did it do to you?
Years ago, I was sniffing it, and I was sniffing it for about 3 years, and it was like amphetamine based.
Okay.
Like legal high, which is like ecstasy, cocaine, and amphetamine.
So it makes you feel a little bit animated, a bit chatty, and I would imagine it makes you feel quite good about yourself.
Yeah, like party drugger if you're going out clubbing.
Yeah.
So.
And did it have any kind of negative side effects when you first started?
At first, for like the first year and that, there wasn't really no side effects really.
Yeah.
Except from like the clucking. Well, you wanted more and more.
Right. So the clucking is when you kind of run out of it.
Yeah.
And you want a bit more.
Yeah.
And how much was it costing you? How much did you spend in total on this?
I've spent thousands of pounds from like my mum's money, my nan's money, and my own money. Like even I've sold items in the past. This was years ago. I sold like birthday presents and that to be able to get it.
Mm.
I've like robbed people on the street for money, done things that I'm not proud of, like to be able to get the drug.
So you were completely addicted to it?
I wouldn't say I was addicted at first, but after like a year of using, like me and my group of friends, there was a guy that I was quite close to back then as well. He was badly addicted to it with me because we used to do it together a lot.
Yeah.
And like both of us had like cut our arms, and from not having it, like clucking so bad that we've tried killing ourselves in the past.
Hang on a second. So why, when you couldn't get it, you were cutting your arms. Why were you doing that?
Because back then the buzz was like, I don't know, when you were coming down, you felt so shit, you felt so ill.
Just steady on, hang on a second, Jack, just watch your language a little bit. I know you're telling a story. It's a Category B, dear listener, but and apologies to anyone offended, but I'm sure you'll understand that Jack is telling us his story, so thank you, Jack. Just mind yourself. So you felt terrible, and you start cutting yourself to, relieve the pain?
No, like, you didn't actually want to be alive.
Right.
Like, it was so strong, like, when you were on the buzz, the buzz was so strong. When you come off it, you felt so shit.
Jack, listen, double yellow card. One more, and I'm going to have to let you go. Just watch your language a little bit, because we've got young ears listening this one.
Yeah,
That's all right. Don't worry. But we've got young ears listening.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
How did you get off it?
I've been on it for over 5 years.
Yeah.
And recently I've started to come off it, which is very hard.
Yep.
I'm having to be prescribed like tablets from the doctor. I have fits, and then I have something called fright terrors, or I think that is what it's called, where you just you can't move when you're sleeping. And it's like terrible, and the pain that you go through, like mentally, and what your family go through. So
are you still taking it, Jack?
Well, the last time I've taken some was, I think, 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And that's coming from taking it every day.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
And who are you getting support from?
Family, and then a place in Luton called Walk to Freedom.
Right. Okay.
Which, it's really good, because he's actually been a drug addict, and he understands what you're going through, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
As like other places I've been before in the past, they're like, I know how you feel, when they don't, because they haven't experienced.
And have you tried things like Narcotics Anonymous or anything like that?
What do you mean by that? Like other drugs?
Well, no, it's not another drug. It's 12-step meetings. There are lots of meetings around where you can go and sit with other addicts and talk to them and share your stories and things.
I've tried things like that, and I am attending one at the moment.
Okay.
With Walk to Freedom.
Okay.
But I've been clean for like 3 weeks, but it's very hard.
Of course it's hard. It is very tough. Jack, listen, I appreciate your story this morning. Keep on keeping on, and you'll get there eventually. That's Jack. Again, apologies to anyone who was offended by any language that may have slipped out there. Jack was telling his story from his heart, so I can understand that, but I know we have young ears listening, so apologies for that. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, on a completely different subject, John's in Milton Keynes. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Ian.
John, what can I do for you? You're not going to swear this morning, are you?
I'm not, sir. I'm not. No.
Excellent stuff. Okay, so I'll have to ban you. Now, John, what have you called in about?
Well, you previously sent me the cover version of the new Chas and Dave.
Oh, the new Chas and Dave song, which is a great record. Yeah. That's what happens when two worlds collide. That one.
Yeah.
We sent you the single, didn't we?
I've already thanked you for that a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
The complete CD is now being released.
Oh.
I bought that during the week, and it is absolutely first class.
You've bought their brand new album because we sent you the single. That's fantastic.
You sent me the single.
Is it good?
It is. The new album is fantastic. It's sort of country and western type theme.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
And it's great stuff.
Oh, well, John, I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, and I'm pleased that it made you to kind of go out and buy. Have you got the album there with you?
I have, and I've put it, it's ready to go, and I've put on what I think is probably, not the best track, or it certainly appeals to me, and here we go.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's like being on the radio. Oh, hang on. Have you started it, John?
I think here we go.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Oh, blimey.
Hang on.
Press play. Right, OK. Sounds like he's using our studio equipment. What's going on?
I don't know. Bear with me.
Hang on a second. All right, no worries. It's fine. BBC Three Counties Radio. John in Milton Keynes.
Working, Ian, for some reason. It must be my player.
What have you done, John?
Can you bear with me?
Well, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
Okay.
No, in no rush. This is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. First for news. We're waiting for John in Milton Keynes to play us a track from the new Chaz and Dave album. I finish at 9 o'clock this morning, John. John? He's gone.
Ian, it's not working. I'll have to ring you on another day.
John, disappointing for everybody involved, but we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
OK.
Hope you fix your CD player. Wow. Local and indeed not so vocal, I would say there. Thank you, John. Well, that's disappointing, for many reasons. 08459 455 555. What have you got that doesn't work when you want it to work? There's the phone in for the rest of the show. What have you got? It's the thing, isn't it? That technicals never involve technicals in a show because they just won't work. Technicals, children, and dogs. They just don't work. On the subject of toilets. The worst public toilet I've been is the one in Wardown Park opposite Pope's Meadow. It was dreadful, said David in Marsh Farm. Good and bad toilets. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Scott is tweeting me. He's just tweeted me. What did he say? I was in the Ritz toilets yesterday. I would call in, but the Ritz isn't in Beds, Herts and Bucks, which is a shame. Well, I've said, no, call in. And he's replied, I can't call in. I'm worried I might swear on air as well. So he's not. But he does say that they had solid silver tissue boxes that were just loose in the toilets. You could have nicked them. Wow, there you go. Thank you very much for that. It's 7:15. 08459 455 555. Legal highs being available in Milton Keynes Market. We spoke to a gentleman earlier on who'd become addicted. Nick has texted in, what kind of mate is it that introduces you to taking any substance that isn't medically prescribed? Your guest sounded like it had messed up his brain. The way he spoke should be a warning. It's not clever using any drug that isn't approved by your GP. Well, lots of people do it, no, Nick. Well, clever or not, lots of people do it, and lots of people find solace and comfort in it. But I think the thing here this morning is that these drugs are available to buy in Milton Keynes Market. That seems a little odd, doesn't it? A market stall. You go and buy your big bar of honeycomb, or your cheap chocolates, or your pet treats, and let's get some legal highs at the same time. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Now, do you remember Healthier Together? It's a phrase that's been mentioned on this station a few times. NHS bosses were looking to reorganise services across Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes and Northamptonshire with the promise of treating more people at home or in the community. Oh, yeah, and downgrading some hospitals. Well, they've ditched those plans after a review, which we've discovered cost more than £2 million. And now it seems they're about to launch a new one, this time focusing on Bedfordshire alone. Well, Dave Hodgson is the Mayor of Bedford, joins me now. Morning, Dave.
Morning.
You have grave concerns about the cost of this review, don't you?
Well, and we've also just had a paediatrics review, which we don't know that's been... We're told at today's meeting of the commissioners will be actually cancelled halfway through. How much does that cost? We've got 2 reviews going on in the hospital, which we haven't seen the outcome of yet. And all these are actually costing money that could go on patient care.
It does seem to be incredible amounts of money spent on reviews. Why are we getting it so wrong?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at the paperwork for the commissioners' meeting today, the case for change is 5 sentences. And really they don't actually address the key issues, which is, what is the problem? What's the problem that the review is addressing, the new one they're looking at? And what's the terms of reference? So people actually don't know what the terms of reference the review is. I just wish all of the NHS, and I'm amazed by the different bits of the NHS, I used to think it's just one body, and it's a huge number, and I just wish they would all commit to fighting for the residents of Bedford and for Bedford Hospital and the healthcare in Bedford.
I've got a quote here. CCGs recognise that the status quo is not sustainable, clinically or financially, and remain absolutely committed to taking the work of Healthier Together forward.
Which I've been saying, and you've been saying in your programme for a long time, and we know that 2 hospitals were to be downgraded massively in the Healthier Together programme, with no full A&E and no networked A&E is what they call it, and no full maternity. And it was very clear in some of the health press that the 2 hospitals looking to downgrade were Bedford and Kettering. Not acceptable.
Are you still convinced that the services at Bedford will be downgraded?
No, I think it's up to the public, us, to stand up and say, look, we want all of the health service providers in the borough, in the Bedfordshire, to actually commit to having these services. I've talked to an awful lot of doctors recently, and there are plenty of models out there that will deliver services. There has to be changes. We know that Moorfields have a clinic at Bedford Hospital. We know that if you have a heart problem, or if you go to Papworth, and that's all, that's the kind of stuff we expect. And we don't, those kind of changes, yes, we're going to happen. But the A&E, the full A&E, the paediatric service, it's just wrong for families that if your young son or daughter are ill, you're going to have to trek across to Milton Keynes or to Luton and Dunstable or across to Cambridge. That can't be good for families. And the whole tenure of the debate is actually putting people very, very nervous about what's happened to Bedford Hospital. And there are some excellent services in Bedford Hospital. I get very, very fed up with people continuing saying that, it's totally at risk. A fortnight ago, in the paper CQC, the Quality Care Commission reviewed and published the riskiness of hospitals, and in the South East Midlands, Bedford Hospital was the least risky of all those hospitals.
Dave, I appreciate your time this morning. It's Dave Hodgson, the Mayor of Bedford.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, if you were listening, about 10 minutes ago, you would have probably had a knot in your stomach as we dealt with the thorny, painful issue, not of Legal Highs, but of John in Milton Keynes trying to play a Chaz and Dave song on the radio. It was uncomfortable, it was awkward, and I think we all died a little bit inside. Well, John is back on the line. He joins me now. John, have you recovered from the earlier incident?
Yeah, I think I am just about ready to go now.
Oh, we're going to have another go.
We're going to have another go.
OK, so let's just set the scene for those that have just tuned in. This is from... This is a track from the new Chaz and Dave album.
Knocking on your door. 5-6 morning by the hardware store. Run a brand don't know what to do. Gonna buy another thing and go to a public loo. Oh, I don't know. Cockney Barra boys, oh, don't my darlings gone, gone, gone. Oh, oh, oh.
Is he going to play the whole song? John! 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 Sorry, Kelly.
Take it up to travel.
Well, I don't think we can let him play a whole song like this. I think there is some law about this. And also, let's be honest, why would we want him to? Quality's awful. Catherine, I don't know what to do.
John!
John!
John! John!
John! John!
Can't hear you over the din.
It's not a din, it's a good song, alright?
It's loud, though.
It is very...
But his neighbours are loving it.
Yeah, in some ways I wish he'd not been able to get the CD player to work. It's the instrumental break. John!
John!
John! John!
Do you think he's doing a dance?
He's doing a jig. John! Oh, for goodness... I mean, why would anyone...
He's left the phone by the speaker then and gone off.
Well, maybe he's collapsed. This is why we've got to wait till the end. If the next track comes on, we're going to call 999 and send them round.
Fair enough.
You listen to BBC Three Counties Radio. I can only apologise. You wouldn't get this on Heart.
We've got nothing else, though.
We have got nothing else, so we might as well...
That's not strictly true.
Oh.
We've got Stephen Bletchley. Shall I get him?
Put Stephen Bletchley on. He can shout at John. John!
John!
John! Oh, for goodness sakes. Why would anyone think this was a good idea? If we thought this was a good idea, we would have discussed this in programme meetings. John!
Is it actually a song?
Yes. Hang on a second, here we go. John! Steve, can you shout at John? Steve!
Hello?
Can you shout at John? Go on!
John!
John!
Sort your life out!
John!
Be yourself!
Hang on a second, here he comes. John!
Well, how's about that then?
How's about that then, pot pickers? Steve's on the line. Steve, what did you make of that?
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant.
Mate, hang on a second. Stay there. We've got another caller who wants to come on. I'm thinking maybe... Are you free about this time every day, John?
Yeah, more or less.
We could make this our album of the week. Dave's in Luton. Dave, you want to speak to John?
Yeah, John, where are you?
Hello, Dave.
Right, mate. That was a nice piece of sound, mate.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's probably they're all good tracks, but that's my favourite, quite honestly. Yeah.
Have you ever met them?
No, I haven't.
You want to meet them, mate?
Yeah.
I have. Very good people.
Oh,
down to earth.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, down to earth. Not like a person that bars me from the radio all the time.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you're the fella that's banned, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah.
There we go. John, I appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, I mean, if you want to hear the rest of it at some time...
Yeah. Steve's on the line. Steve, you had a sensible point. Thank you for your help there.
Do I? Gee, makes a change. Hello?
Yes.
Got... What?
Well, what did you call him for? You've not been on these legal highs, have you?
Okay, the way life goes, I wouldn't mind being on a couple.
Oh, dearie me. What do you reckon to have been sold in Milton Keynes Market?
The thing is, what I can't never work out is all these banned drugs. No drugs, because anything you take that's not natural is not going to be good. But if people want to take it and it's controlled and it don't interfere with their lives, look at alcohol. Alcohol is supposed to be one of the worst ones, and yet you can buy that till the cows come home, can't you?
Yeah.
Shops in the morning, shops at night, go to the pub, get mullered. Everyone thinks there's a good bit of fun and laugh, but you can't take a bit of cannabis because, it makes you high. What's the difference? I mean,
one's a drink and one you smoke. But these legal highs, they're not being monitored, are they?
Well, no. Well, that's what I mean. It's got to be monitored, and the other thing, you've got to educate people. If you're going to take a bit of drugs, bit of whatever, if it's a bit of fun on a Saturday night or whatever, it doesn't interfere with your life and your work, which is easy to say, I suppose, for some, like, for me, who's never touched them, apart from, obviously, alcohol, which is a drug. So, at the end of the day, it's down to education. You should legalise it and monitor it, and we'd be richer, and the tax you'd get off of it would be unbelievable if you taxed it as well.
Steve, I don't want to do the should we legalise cannabis phone in. I'm not Ian Collins or one of those lazy hacks, for goodness sakes. But if you want to give us a call, 08459 455 555 is the phone number, facebook.com/BBC3CR. This is BBC Three Counties Radio. I can only apologise for the last 15 minutes. We'll try and do better, promise. There is a cracking picture of Justin Dealey on the Facebook page. Oh, that's made me laugh. Do go and have a look, facebook.com/BBC3CR. We'll be talking to Justin after the latest news and sport with Barry.
BBC Three Counties Radio News and Sport. I'll have a full bulletin at 8.
Thank you very much indeed.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning. Oh, lots coming up. Public toilets. Oh, yes, we'll be speaking to Justin Dealey about public toilets. Also, David Lloyd will be coming in the next few minutes. But John is in Luton. Good morning, John.
Good morning, boss.
Morning, John. What can I do for you?
You're talking about carrots this morning.
Yes.
Do you know carrots are good for the eyes?
That's a myth.
Because you never see rabbits wearing glasses.
The thing about them being good for your eyesight, do you know where that comes from?
Where?
It comes from World War II, when we had developed radar so that we could spot German aeroplanes, but Churchill didn't want Hitler to know that we developed radar, so they put about this myth that they were eating lots of carrots.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks very much, John. You're a first-time caller to the show.
Pardon?
Are you a first-time caller to the show?
No, this is Dave Luton.
Hang on, you're the fella that's banned. Get out of it. He snuck in under the wire. Good voice. I would never have spotted him with that voice. Would never have spotted him. Carol's in Milton Keynes. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Ian.
Carol, what can I do for you?
I just rung in to say that, talking of legal highs...
Oh, yeah.
For absolutely free and no money, people should tune in to you, because I've had a really good laugh this morning.
Oh, hey, that's good. We should get prescribed on the NHS, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Well, that's very kind of you, Carol. You wouldn't be tempted to pop down to Milton Keynes Market to combine this show with a legal high, would you? Double whammy.
No, because listening to the side effects and everything like that, no way.
Doesn't sound good. Well, Carol, you keep listening.
I will.
Can I ask you, it's kind of coming up to our sort of 6 monthly review of members of the team and stuff like that. Can I get your honest opinion, and be honest about this?
Well... When my husband was
question.
alive, he always stuck the television on when he first got up.
Oh, dear.
Well, these things happen.
These things happen. I'm sorry to hear that. I want to ask...
But I've converted to the radio.
Yeah.
And I have thoroughly enjoyed You know, I get annoyed sometimes when you're on the phone to some people, and you know, you can have a laugh, and it to be honest, it takes you out yourself. It's a thoroughly good show. Carry on doing what you're doing.
Can I ask you about one member of staff in particular? Justin Dealey.
I think he's a great character.
Really?
Yeah, a character with, you know, I mean, yes, he is.
Well, listen, just have a listen to this. This is Justin Dealey earlier on in the show.
I'm now in the urinal section.
Is that really the kind of stuff you want to hear on breakfast?
Well...
It's very base, isn't it?
Well, you've heard of toilet humour, so...
Yeah. I mean, he takes it to the next level, doesn't he?
Absolutely I mean, he does take his job seriously.
Yeah, because I'm just talking about... We will be getting rid of staff here. Cutbacks, it's happening. Justin Dealey is, you know... He's on the list. He's got a question mark by his name at the moment.
Oh, bless his little cottons.
Yeah?
Yeah, bless him.
Okay, well...
I mean, you're all doing... I don't think any of you should be...
Good experience.
Any cutbacks.
Okay, well, we will see what happens, Carol. Thank you very much indeed.
That's all right.
It's Justin next. Hello, mate.
Morning, boss. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Justin. I just think, you know, there was a big speech, wasn't there, recently from the boss?
Yes.
About it's your BBC, not yours, the listeners. It's your BBC, and I just think that there is. I've got a list of names here: Kelly Betts, Catherine Boyle, various people. Yours is on there. Yours has got the biggest question mark by it.
It's funny you should say that, because I think the biggest question mark at the radio station is actually next to your name. Did you not see that email that went round about 2 weeks ago?
No, I didn't.
You know, judged on your recent behaviour, banning people, cutting people off, being aggressive. You know,
my raising listener figures, my awards, and the fact I've got another 11 months on my contract. Yeah, I didn't see that email.
I know what I saw. I know what I saw.
Okay, Justin. All right, you want to play like that, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Be like in the Alan Partridge film where he writes on the blackboard, "Don't sack me, sack the other guy." Now, Justin, you have been spending your time hanging out in men's toilets, and we thought, well, listen, maybe we can use this to our advantage. So we asked you the next time you did that to take a microphone with you.
It's worked.
You did.
I did indeed.
Why have you been looking into toilets?
Well, at Dunstable Town Council, they are celebrating because the public toilets in Ashton Square, they have been awarded a platinum rating in the Loo of the Year Awards 2013.
Fantastic.
Now, that's awarded only to exceptional toilets. These toilets, I did a bit of a tour earlier on. 4 cubicles, 9 urinals, 4 sinks, 2 mirrors, a dryer, and no smell. Come on, Ian. What more would you want from a public toilet?
I like the smell of a dirty public toilet. There's something about it, the bleach and urine combined.
Come on, you can't be serious.
No, there's something earthy about it.
Oh, you're so strange.
What?
So strange.
It's grounding. It keeps me humble.
Now, these toilets themselves, they are judged on a few things. Signage, very important, of course. Maintenance, fixtures and fittings, cleanliness, security and management. As I mentioned, I did my tour earlier on. Ian, I've been hanging around these toilets, speaking to men, and getting their views on just how good they are. Here's what happened.
Okay. Good experience? Well, I don't go into the toilet having an experience. It was okay. John, how was the experience for you in here?
Very good. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Great feedback, thank you.
Who you working for?
I work for Iain Lee.
Who's he?
You know Iain Lee?
No.
Bit awkward. Can you score the toilets out of 10 for me?
Well, it's 10 out of 10. Go on. I'm a window cleaner.
Oh, are you?
I only use that every day.
If you didn't use them toilets, would you miss them?
Yes.
Almost like a friend to you?
Yeah.
Hi, sir. I'm from Iain Lee's show, BBC Three Counties Radio. You've just walked into an award-winning toilet. Would you describe this as an award-winning toilet?
Oh, well, I don't like all this. I want to call it silicone.
Ah, right.
But I could have made a better job of it, actually.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a lovely toilet, otherwise. One of the best around here, actually.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Is it the sort of thing that you go and tell your friends about, go and use that toilet, it's particularly good?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Shall I let you crack on? Shall I let you go to the toilet now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, sir, you just come in here. Would you describe this toilet as award-winning?
Not bad.
You look a bit confused that I've even mentioned this toilet and award-winning in the same sentence.
Every time I come in, it stinks, but
not today.
Well, it's not. It could smell better.
So you don't seem very happy with your experience. You say it's not that good in here.
Well, it isn't. Look at the floor. Bits all over the floor. Look at these holes. What's all this up here?
Do you think they should take the award back off them?
I should think they should review their reward awards.
Hey, Rich, come on. How great is it in here?
I think you might have been sarcastic when you said that.
No, it's just won an exceptional award.
Average loo.
So what would make it an exceptional loo, then?
What make it exceptional?
Yeah, I mean, if it's average...
If I had to be picky, I'd probably say, better flooring or something, wouldn't it? Yeah. Better flooring, I guess it'd probably be better.
Are you a toilet snob?
No, not at all.
What's a toilet snob, Just?
Well, probably somebody like that man there. You know, he goes into a public toilet, it's just won a national award, huge recognition, and there he is running down the floor. Who does he think he is? Now, I also spoke to Gary, who cleans the toilets. He was a very happy man. His top tip for toilet attendants is to keep on top of things, and I also asked him how he would be celebrating. He said to me he'll be celebrating with a nice cup of tea.
Fantastic, Justin. Well, I really appreciate the effort you put into this.
Pleasure.
Thanks very much. I'm sure it was. Dennis is on the loo. Morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
Dennis, what would you like to say?
Right, the toilets that he's talking about is by the marketers, I think.
Right.
But the ones that I think are better, and unfortunately they've been closed, was where you come off the car in the car park by Boots and walk up the side there. It comes to Clinton's cards.
Yeah.
There's 3 in a row there. Ladies, gents, and one at the end I'm fascinated with is called sprinklers. Right?
Yeah.
On the door. So that must be for dirty old men like me who can't aim straight.
Okay, well, there you go. Isn't that a wonderful image you've put into the mind of the children listening to this show, Dennis?
Well, that's no, because they're used to it. They're going to say in the end, who uses sprinklers?
Exactly. But I've no idea what that was about. Paul's in Leighton Buzzard. Good morning. Can we get that sweary bloke on from earlier? Paul's in Leighton Buzzard. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Ian. I think the people of Leighton, or some do, use the shower room that's in the Leighton Buzzard toilets.
A shower room in a public toilet?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, no.
And the Leighton toilets have won the industry's top awards for the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, they didn't win this award, did they? They didn't win this award.
I don't know. I would imagine they won the Gold Star award.
Okay. But I'm trying to imagine, why would anybody use a shower in a public toilet? I can't think of anything worse.
I don't know. I have heard, I've never seen it, but I have heard that market traders sometimes use them.
Dirty.
So, there we are.
Dirty.
But, they're certainly...
I tell you what I miss, and this is not in any way condoning it or encouraging it. I'm for the most part glad we don't have this, but I do have a hankering for the 70s and the 80s when toilet walls were covered in graffiti. There was filthy stuff, there was funny stuff, there were people just doing poems, there were just people writing rude stuff about their mates, there was Chad. You don't get Chads anymore. Now, I'm not saying go out with a marker pen and write on toilet walls, au contraire, but there was something comforting about that. Well, you could have a good read while you were in there.
Oh dear, I don't know about that. You wouldn't have done in the old Leighton toilets, I can assure you.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll go no further with that, sir. 08459 455 555. What's interesting and what's surprising is, when I was told by Justin Dealey we would be doing toilets, I thought it would resort to base humour, lowest common denominator. I really think we've managed to keep our head above water here. I think we've done a pretty decent, thorough investigation. If you want to give me a call and to tell me about your public toilet experience, steady. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want a good laugh, go and look at the Facebook page. Cracking picture of JD, facebook.com/BBC3CR. Catherine Ball, you're loitering as though you want to say something, and then thought better of it.
When you said head above water, I thought you were going to say something about a good job. I'm glad you didn't. I was about to praise you for keeping it clean.
No, listen, this is a very big job that we're doing here this morning, and I really think that we are certainly, etc., etc., etc. BBC Three Counties Radio, it's 7:45. Let's get the latest travel news now. Oh, no. Hang on a second. We can do this. Let's just move you down there. It's one of those shows, isn't it? It's one of those shows where that happens. Then we want to move you down there. Trust me, no one will notice a thing. And then we're going to move you, sneak you into there, wallop. Now, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Hertfordshire, David Lloyd, wants to start a Citizens Police Academy. It would teach residents how and when to intervene in crime situations and offer short, sharp training sessions that will give people the skills to keep themselves and their neighbours safe. It's part of David Lloyd's volunteer strategy, which he launches today. We'll speak to David in a second, but earlier on in the show, I asked Neil Alston from the Herts Police Federation whether the Commissioner's plan was just policing on the cheap.
I really, really hope not. I don't expect it to be. The police have a vital job to do. We have limited resources, but I think essential services will still be provided by the police. This is much more about, as I understand it, educating the community into what the police do and how they can play their part.
Well, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Hertfordshire, David Lloyd, joins me now. David, what will the police academy be, exactly?
Well, first of all, Ian, Neil got it entirely right. This isn't about trying to take police jobs away. This is about trying to get the community actively involved. And where you've got great communities, you've got people volunteering and getting involved. And so what this is about is allowing people to develop their volunteering skills. Today I'm launching the volunteer strategy. I'm doing that tonight at an awards evening with volunteers who already are very much working in the community. I want to push that a bit further. I want to see, often I ask questions and listen to the answers rather than telling people what's going to happen. What this is about is actually asking how we can do more to get people volunteering in the criminal justice system.
But what will happen? How will this police academy manifest itself? What will it be?
Well, it's what it'll be is a way of involving communities. So it'll be about getting people to volunteer, perhaps as a special, perhaps in Neighbourhood Watch. It's about getting them involved in that sort of area. And the academy just brings it together. It's a good way of bringing together how we manage those skills.
Will they be doing any of the jobs of the police, either backline or frontline?
Well, when Robert Peel started policing 175 years ago, he said the police are the public and the public are the police. And so, to that extent, we all do the job of the police. But they won't be, and indeed, if they become special police officers, they will literally be doing the job of the police. But I'm actually talking about a far wider element than that. I'm talking about how we all get involved, whether or not that's in Neighbourhood Watch, whether that's joining as a magistrate, whether or not that's volunteering around prisons, how we get involved in the whole criminal justice system.
What will they be? What will volunteers do in prisons?
Well, there's a lot of work that happens in the Mount in Bovingdon where volunteers go in, they support, they help support families, they help in reading, they help in all sorts of areas. And it's right that we try and keep everyone as part of the community.
So this isn't in any way to fill in the gaps on your diminishing police force?
Well, I suppose one should always challenge questions which say diminishing police force. There's no evidence that we've got fewer police officers.
Hertfordshire Constabulary had 2,300 officers at its high point. It's now somewhere between 1,800 and 1,950. You've lost at least 400 officers since the cut started. So it is getting smaller.
The level of crime since the turn of the century, since 2000, is down by about 50%. So actually it hasn't kept pace with the fall-off in crime. But what this is about is ensuring that we're all involved, because we all, every single one of us, put crime as one of our top 3 concerns, and we want to make sure that people are involved so that crime remains as low as possible in Hertfordshire. You're already living in one of the very safest parts of the country, and that it remains that way.
Teaching residents how and when to intervene in crime situations sounds a little bit dangerous.
Well, I'm not talking about intervening where people put their lives at risk. However, I think that we all have a responsibility. If someone tries to sell us half-price cigarettes which have fallen off the back of a lorry in the pub, that actually we have a responsibility to report it. That if we see something suspicious happening, that we report it. I'm not talking about physically challenging someone where you can get injured, but I am talking about us changing a whole mindset so that the community says no to crime.
Is this actually going to happen, David? Because with the greatest of respect, you have been on here and you've thrown out good attention grabbers and good headlines, for example, charging for people to stay in cells, branded police vehicles, and then these things kind of sort of gently disappear. Is this another one of those?
Well, I very much hope not. I don't think any of them gently disappear. But what I do is to find out what people think about them. As I've always said, I'm someone who puts my ideas out early on. I want you to be able to say, is this a good idea or not? I know you probably will afterwards and say, is that right or not? And it's really important because that informs the debate. police cells, for example, is something which we are taking forward. You know about the drunk tanks, and we're working on that, and we're going to try and bring those in. That's an example of an idea which is developed, and I think is one which the people are on the side of, and that we'll bring in.
We will be taking phone calls on this, of course. 08459 455 555. How can people get in touch with you and give their views and opinions?
The best way is to go onto the website heartscommissioner.org. That way you can see the whole document, you can actually say what you want to say about it and comment on it.
I've got a text here from Pat. David Lloyd's idea of a police academy for citizens is a way of the government asking the public to do something for nothing, so maybe more cuts can come within police services. When David is criticised, he just laughs at the thought of being challenged and washes over it. David, we want a police force, not a gimmicky service. That's what members of the public laugh about, the lack of policing. The service is a joke, like PCCs to most of us, I suspect. What would your response be to Pat?
Well, Pat isn't my strongest supporter, never has been, never will be. We often hear from Pat, and, I don't agree with what Pat says. The whole reason that I don't is I think we've got one of the finest constabularies in the country. We've got one of the safest places in which we live. What Pat thinks doesn't bear any relation to what's happening in Hertfordshire.
David, thank you very much. So you're going to be announcing this, the scheme in its full glory tonight, is that right?
Tonight, 6:30 at the Volunteer Awards, where we are celebrating some fantastic volunteering in the county.
What kind of stuff will you be celebrating? What kind of
people who work as specials, people who volunteer around policing in various places, and I'm really looking forward to it.
David, thanks very much. Always nice to see you first thing in the morning.
Always great to see you as well.
Yes, I'm sure. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Just heard David Lloyd's plan there. What do you think? Does it sound good? Does it sound like a sensible idea? Would you like to volunteer and do more, or do you think, well, no, hang on a second, maybe it's down to the police. That's their job. Keen to get your thoughts on this this morning, if you would. And David will be listening, and so he will take your thoughts on board. 08459 455 555. You can send us a text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR, or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555. Let's have a quick look at some of the pages. Let's start with the three ones that I quite often miss. The Daily Express. Oh, wow, look at this. They've got a picture of a truck in snow, and they found a cure for the killer flu. This is unfortunately, they've had to squeeze Maddie off of the front page, but I'm sure she'll be back tomorrow. Wonder cure for killer flu. Wow. Great. This is going to save lives this Christmas? No. New drink will save thousands of lives. It's kind of exciting. A new drink derived from a vegetable, has been hailed as a breakthrough in the search for a cure in flu. I see. Scientists believe it could revolutionise the way the killer virus is tackled. I'm interested. Tell me more. Oh, it's a pickled turnip. Suddenly I'm not so bothered. I'm not going to drink a pickled turnip. The Daily Mail. Payday lenders groom children. Let's read a bit more. Payday loan firms were accused yesterday of using targeted adverts to groom children into becoming the borrowers of the future. Boy victim of hospital and police probe. An inquiry is launched into cancer care at NHS Trust. And the front page of The Sun. It really is an amazing picture on the front page of The Sun. I don't often think they get it right. I would say they've had more misses than hits in recent times. But this is incredible. Towering stupidity. Brit teenagers wear 9/11 fancy dress and win. It's two 19-year-old British girls, and they are girls. They've gone to a fancy dress party in America. Oh, no, hang on. Sorry, maybe it's in Chester. I do apologise. Why did I think it was in America? No, I think it's actually in Chester. I do apologise. Yes, it's in the University of Chester, and it's not in America. They've dressed up as the Twin Towers after they've been struck by the aeroplanes. And one of them's waving a handbag. It really is the most incredible picture. I thoroughly recommend you go and have a look at that in your newsagents. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. This is BBC Three Counties Radio. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots coming up between now and JVS at 9 o'clock, including Milton Keynes is the place to go for... Milton Keynes Market, the place to go for cheap sweets, big bags of washing powder, oh yeah, and legal highs. You've heard David Lloyd's plan for Hertfordshire Police, making it safer by getting more volunteers. Well, will you be taking part? And Justin Dealey is the number 2 presenter here at BBC Three Counties, in as much as he's been hanging around in a toilet all morning. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Talking about legal highs this morning because it turns out they are openly available in Milton Keynes Market. Well, Paul is from Milton Keynes. Good morning, Paul.
Hiya.
Paul, what would you like to say about this?
It's not actually to do with the market, but you don't need to get a legal high off the market. You just need to live in one of the flats around here because they can break in any time they want. And in the community areas, you walk in and you can just get high on the drugs.
Well, who can break in any time they want, sorry?
Oh. Well, it could be whites, blacks, whatever, Caucasian.
Drug dealers, drug takers?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what, they're openly taking drugs in where you live, are they?
Yeah, in the community areas, in the flats, yeah.
Oh, dear.
And the police, the council, CPSOs, parish council, they don't do nothing.
Well, have you spoken to the police?
Yes, all of them. I've been doing this for about 20 years and I haven't done nothing.
What do they say? Because we'll be speaking to a police inspector in a couple of minutes. What do they say to you, Paul, when you get in touch with them?
Oh, no, they just say, phone up 101.
Right. And
then you say to them, but they won't come this side of the boulevard on where I live.
Okay. It must be very frustrating for you.
It's sometimes, I mean, it was about, 15 years ago, I was a paranoid wreck. I wouldn't even go out my flat.
Yeah.
And it's starting to get like that again.
Paul, keep listening, because we'll be speaking to a police officer in a second. Paul's story is slightly different, but still related nonetheless. Legal highs in Milton Keynes Market. And because they're legal, it means they must be kind of, safe and stuff, isn't it? Well, probably not. We spoke to one local man this morning whose stepdaughter was hospitalised after smoking what was described as a funny cigarette. It turned out not to be cannabis. Well, Inspector Iain Jarvis is from Milton Keynes Police now. Iain, before we get to the legal highs, that point that Paul just made, that when he calls up to report there is open and blatant drug taking in his the communal areas where he lives, nothing's done about that.
Morning.
Morning.
Obviously, each individual case has to be dealt with by the local policing team when we receive the intelligence. But I don't know the area he's talking about. Is it the city centre he's talking about?
But surely, if someone phoned up and said, "Look, there are loads of idiots out there taking a load of drugs in front of everyone, and it's ruining my life," the police would jump out immediately, wouldn't they?
Absolutely, we will certainly react to any intelligence that comes in. It all gets filtered through to our neighbourhood policing teams. There's patrols. If it is the city centre you're talking about and the flats within the city centre, I know they're patrolled regularly, and there is action. I've been on warrants myself in those flats if they're the ones he's talking about. So there is activity, and we do react to intelligence.
Okay, so someone phoned up. What? Someone will be there in 20 minutes?
Well, obviously, if it's immediate or urgent, but generally things like people, say, smoking cannabis in areas of flats, that will get passed to the local neighbourhood policing team, and they will react as appropriate. If it's something that's seen on CCTV, it gets passed over the airwaves, and I know that police officers will react where resources allow.
Why does CCTV get treated with more of a priority than a concerned resident?
No, absolutely not. No.
Well, how long would it take? If I phoned up the Milton Keynes Police now and said, "Look, in my block of flats, there are a load of yobs out there making me feel uncomfortable. They're taking drugs openly." How long would it take for some police to come round and sort them out?
Certainly, that would probably be put through as what we'd call an urgent attendance, and you'd get a police officer when available. I mean, if there was one round the corner, they'd only have to walk round. If they were dealing with other immediates and emergencies, it may take a little longer, but obviously it would be reacted to. I think that's the point.
Well, listen, thank you for that. The reason we got you on is to talk about these legal drugs that are being sold in Milton Keynes Market. I'm supposing if they're legal, there's nothing you can do, is there?
No, there are things we can do and we can look at. I think these sellers of the legal highs, they've had a bit of an easy ride the last couple of years. It's a bit of an emerging trend nationally. Just to say, I don't think Milton Keynes necessarily is bucking any national trend. it's certainly true to say that it's become much more popular across the country. It's certainly gathered momentum in the last couple of years. They're easier to get hold of. We don't have numerous places selling these. We do have one or two. Generally, they're obtained over the internet and through the postal system. It's almost you can order them and have them delivered to your house the next day. The unfortunate thing is, yes, we do have places that do sell these, and they get round legislation, generally which is looked at by trading standards, and that's things to do with like the way they're labelled and the age group they're sold to. I think the message is that they need to be looking over their shoulders a bit more, because we are actively looking at what we shouldn't really call them legal highs. What we should call them is new or novel psychoactive substances. I think the word legal highs gives them a sort of a credibility and almost makes them sound like they're safe to take.
But and while they may not be safe, and why people may not know exactly what they're doing, they are legal. So why would the market traders be looking over their shoulder if there's nothing that you can do?
Well, you've got to look at the although we're not here to police morality, certainly you're talking about a cash-generating business. There is legislation about the way these things are labelled. They're not to be sold to under 18s. They're not sold for human consumption. However, they get round these bits of legislation by marking the packets not for human consumption, being sold as research drugs. They use the law to their advantage in order to obviously make their profits. What they've got to look at is the fact that some of these people I've known to actually phone up trading standards and seek advice on how they're to label and sell in order to get round the legislation. I think that's what we've got to look at. I mean, obviously, our priority is to look at illegal drugs and the supply and the harm, but also this is MPS, as we call them, the legal highs, as your listeners will know them as. We are focusing on them. They are on our agenda to look at, and people will be prosecuted and looked at when we find that they're breaching legislation. We're working hard with trading standards to identify breaches.
What should people do if they think their children are taking legal highs?
It's about information. It's about knowledge, and it's about we know what alcohol and smoking does to us, and we see a reduction in the youth actually drinking and smoking. We should see that. I think this is a bit of a fad at the moment, these so-called legal highs.
It's a fad that's been going on for a few years, isn't it?
Well, it's been, I'll say a fad for a good, since methadone 2009, 2010, so it's still gathering momentum, they're still quite new. We've seen something like over 200 new substances in the past few years. We've never seen this before in the drugs world. We've seen maybe a couple of substances each year come about and take hold. I mean, methadrone's only really been around since 2009, and that's probably the drug of choice now for a lot of young people, over and above cocaine, alcohol even in some areas.
Can't you have a word with the people that run Milton Keynes Market and get them to boot them out?
Very good point, and that's something that's certainly on my agenda, together with trading standards, to take up with them. Absolutely. I mean, one of the festivals, I think it was Reading Festival, been selling these sort of drugs for years. They actually stopped the sale of them at the festival last year. On moral grounds, and actually in advice with the police, for taking advice from the police and trading standards about the harm that they cause. So if they can do it, yeah, absolutely, that's something we need to be looking at.
That would be great. When do you think you're going to speak to the market and have a word with them?
It's on the agenda to do straight away.
So that'll be today?
Well, not today.
Oh,
no.
sorry, I thought you meant straight away, meant today, sorry.
Yeah, proper meetings, look at the legislation and how we inform them, and it's something that we need to,
Well, can't you just go, I would imagine you could just go up to the people that run the market and say, look, we've got some people here, 2 stalls or however many it is, they're selling legal highs. It's not illegal, but it makes you look pretty rotten, and it's probably bringing the wrong element to your market. Could you get rid of them? That's all you need to do, isn't it? You could phone them up today and ask them that.
It's something that we've actually. I don't know if you know or not. We've actually done what you would call a raid on the market with trading standards, and seized an awful lot of their product, which is going through testing at the moment to see if it does have any illegal substances in or substances that come under the temporary banning order. And that's something we have done. So we have actually taken action.
But you've not phoned up the people that run the market and said, look, come on, but be fair, get rid of those stalls that are selling that stuff.
I think that would be, from my point of view, personally, and from the LPA commander, that would be something that we would absolutely love to see them doing. What we've got to realise...
Well, why don't you do it? Just phone them up.
They are doing... Well, that phone
them up today.
That is on the agenda. I can assure you.
But when? The thing is, there'll be people... I'll do it. I'll phone them up for you today. All you need to do is phone them up. There'll be people wondering why you're dragging your heels. Just a phone call saying, look, we can't legally enforce this, but wouldn't it be great for you and the publicity for you if you got rid of this stall? That's all you need to do.
It's things like this show that are absolutely... fantastic in my view, because this is raising the awareness. If they got 100 phone calls today from worried parents and people saying, look, take this stall, don't allow this stall to run, that would be fantastic. It's all about pressure and education.
Well, listen, could we expect a phone call from the police to them today?
You can certainly expect something from me.
Excellent.
To the head of the market.
Brilliant.
And passing my harms and my concerns. Absolutely.
Excellent. Inspector Iain Jarvis, thank you very much indeed. Well, there you go. We got there in the end. Milton Keynes Police. It seems obvious. Don't drag your heels on this one, chaps. What you got to do is phone up the market. Don't plan meetings and studies and things like that. Phone up the market. Say, look, do you know that Trader X is selling this now? While it's not illegal. It's being frowned upon. There's been a big thing about it on the local radio, and it's probably attracting the wrong element. Now, listen, it's your choice, but we suggest you ask that person not to trade there anymore. That's all you need to do, isn't it? Or am I being naive?
Local and vocal. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Nice chords at the end.
That was nice, wasn't it? It was. The thing is, I thought upbeat, fun. Oh, it's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, my cat's passed away. It was that kind of vibe, wasn't it? My cat hasn't passed away, by the way.
I took my cat to a dinner party last night.
No, that's wrong. Why? Was it like cat for cats?
Well, I went to a dinner party with some friends, and after about 10 minutes, they talked about the fact they were thinking of getting a cat. They want an indoor cat like mine, a house cat.
Yeah.
And they were asking me questions, and I said, well, shall I go and get him? And they said, would you? Would that be all right? I said, yeah, he likes going out. So I popped home.
Yeah.
Brought him round.
Wow.
And he spent the evening at the dinner party with us. He loved it.
Really?
Yes. He even got half a tin of tuna.
You're like one of those hideous American women that has a puppy in their bag, in their handbag.
Yeah.
You're like that. You can't use your cat as a to get social standing and respect.
He liked it. He likes a little trip out.
I've often thought about bringing my cat in one day here.
Really?
She would hate it. She wouldn't like it, though. She would hide under the desk and I wouldn't see her.
No, I took my cat to Cambridge once.
Yep.
He enjoyed that in the car. He stood up on the passenger seat with his 2 little feet on the dashboard all the way there.
Hang on a minute, you're supposed to put them in a box when you move them around.
Only if they're not controlled.
Supposing he goes... supposing he goes mental and starts slashing at your face.
Doesn't go mental. He's very well bred.
Wow. Well, mine isn't.
Not some riff-raff cat.
Mine's just a big black moggy.
Really?
Yes, no particular breed.
Oh. No, he enjoyed it, and we got quite some looks in Cambridge.
I bet you did. Now, listen, what have you got on your show this morning?
Yes. Coming up at 9 on the big phone-in, are most British people too scared or selfish to confront crime?
Yes.
So as we've heard this morning, Hertfordshire Police and Crime Commissioner David Lloyd wants to set up a Citizens Police Academy to teach members of the public how best to confront crime. It will teach local residents how and when to intervene if they spot a crime in progress, in the hope that we can all keep each other safe. Well, the Academy will form just one part of Mr. Lloyd's volunteer strategy, which launches today, and I can see how it may be better for society if we all paid more attention to criminal activity and perhaps reported more crimes to the police. But I just wonder if society has changed too much and whether modern Britain may now be full of people who frankly would rather look the other way and get home safely than help someone in need. From 9 this morning, I want your views on this and your experiences. Are most British people too scared or selfish to confront crime? How many people genuinely have been in need and members of the public have come to your need. If you've seen somebody, a fight going on in a town centre, have you gone and tried to break it up, or have you just walked on and thought, no, I'm just going to get home. I don't need all of this hassle.
I suppose it depends what it is. A fight, I would be dubious. I would never intervene again between a boyfriend and a girlfriend fighting. Never, because if the fella's slapping her about or being aggressive, it's happened to me, it's happened to friends, you step in and say, oi mate, just calm down. They both turn on you. I've had that happen to me once, and it's happened to a couple of friends, so I would certainly avoid that.
I'm normally fairly forthright with confronting things, but there was one time I didn't, and it stayed with me ever since. It was in the supermarket, and there was, I think I might have told you this before actually, there was two girls who were clearly drunk. It was in the middle of the afternoon. They were probably about 17, 18, and they were wretched. Yeah. You know the kind of girls I'm talking about, wretched. And the two of them, they were so drunk, they decided it would be funny to get on the conveyor belt.
Oh, dear.
And they were sitting on the conveyor belt, effing and blinding. Oh, it was terrible. And this poor woman sitting on the till, who could have been your mum or my mum, or, she looked like somebody's mum, and she was sitting there, and she was so worried and frightened and embarrassed by the whole thing, she wasn't quite sure what to do, as these two dreadful girls started coming down her conveyor belt towards where she would scan and pack them.
Yeah.
And I stood there, and I was frozen to the spot. Normally, I would have gone up, but there was something about the two of them. I just felt very uncomfortable about going. What I should have done, should have dragged them off, dealt with them. But I kind of stood there and I was thinking, what on earth do I do? And everyone, you could see the look around, everyone was thinking the same thing. I mean, why didn't all of us just go over and drag those two grotty girls off that till and drag them out, chuck them outside the cell? Why did none of us do that? We didn't. So I went over to the security guard, I got him to deal with it. But that's always lived with me.
But you still did something, though. You still intervened in a way,
but
in a way that was safe for you.
I feel like I was a namby-pamby, woolly person. I should have gone out. I should have dealt with those girls. We all should have done. But why is it in this country now we're so paralysed by this sense of fear when we see something like that, and we all collectively just stand there and watch? It's pathetic.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, these grubby people, like those two girls, they go on in life, don't they, believing that they can behave however they want because no one will ever say anything to them. And I wonder whether this is part of what David Lloyd is saying. It's about all of us perhaps getting a bit of training, perhaps feeling more confident to go and get involved in those kinds of situations and try and diffuse them.
Yeah.
From 9 this morning, are most British people too scared or selfish to confront crime?
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Healthier together. Do you remember that? NHS bosses were looking to reorganise services across Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes and Northamptonshire with the promise of treating more people at home or in the community. Oh, and downgrading some hospitals. Well, they've ditched those plans after a review, which we've discovered cost more than £2 million. And now it seems they're about to launch a new one, this time focusing on Bedfordshire alone. Well, Diana Blackman is Chief Executive of Healthwatch Central Bedfordshire, which represents the views of people in the area. Diana, £2 million is a waste of money, isn't it?
No, I don't think it's a waste of money. I think all engagement or consultation is extremely important for local people, because how else are local people supposed to give their views or their opinions on how health services are to be delivered in their area unless you engage or consult?
But nothing was published. It was put into the long grass. What's been done with... Where's all that money gone?
Well, you would have to ask the Healthier Together programme
I'm asking
where
you,
that money's gone.
How can you defend the Healthier Together programme if there is no evidence of where that money's gone?
I'm not actually defending the programme. I'm saying that all engagement or consultation is to be valued if it enables people to give their voice.
But that voice isn't being heard because nothing's been published.
Well, I understand that the Healthier Together website is still up and running, and you can still download the reports and the data that was produced from those reviews.
£2 million, Diana. Why isn't that being spent on, I don't know, a hospital or a GPs or on nurses? Why is it being spent on things like this?
It would be very difficult to say, and that question you would have to put to the Department of Health or the Secretary of State.
You seem to not know very much about it, yet you are defending the costs of the review. So what exactly are you defending then?
I'm saying that any review that gives local people a voice is to be welcomed.
Who's heard that voice?
I would imagine the Department of Health and the Secretary of State have been looking at the report.
And how has that voice been acted upon?
I don't know. You would have to ask the Healthier Together programme.
Can you answer any of these questions about this thing that you're saying is a good idea?
I'm not necessarily saying it's a good idea. I'm saying that it's a good idea to consult with people.
But you don't know who's listened to it. You don't know what's being done with that information. So surely it's not always a good idea to consult with people if nothing's done with that information and money is just thrown away.
Of course it's a good idea to consult with people. How else
Diana.
are you going to know how people will want the services that are being provided in their local area?
Diana, you don't know who's listening to that. You don't know what's being done with that. As far as you're concerned, no one's listened and nothing's been done with it. So how is that a good idea?
Well, you would have to ask the Healthier Together programme. It's, you can only say that these reviews are very important.
So you're defending something that you don't know what the outcome was, you don't know what the results were, you don't know where the money's gone, and you're defending that.
I'm defending the fact that engagement and consultation is a good idea and listening to people is a good idea. Where that information goes, you would have to ask the Healthier Together programme.
I just wonder how you can defend... Yes, it's good to talk to people, but if no one's listening to those answers, no one's doing anything with that information, well, then it's a waste of everyone's time and money, isn't it? Obviously.
As I said, the information is available on their website for anybody to review. I'm sure that the latest review that they're doing... I have read it, I have it in front of me.
Then, okay, fine. Then maybe you can tell me what it says that's so positive, that's been so useful, that's been worth spending that much money on.
It tells you there's loads of data there about the different hospitals.
Give me some. Give me some of the data.
Okay. For example, they asked questionnaires about did they have any views or comments on the information they'd read in the Healthier Together review of local health services. There's actually loads of questions here.
Okay,
that
what were some of the answers? What were some of the answers?
Some of the responses include, for example, 49% of people at Kettering General Hospital said that they welcomed this review and said that they wanted to keep the hospital.
So 49% of people in a review that costs £2 million said they welcome the review.
That's just one example.
But we don't know if anybody's acting on that information, do we?
Well, you would have to ask them where they sent that information.
I'm just saying, we don't know if that information's being acted upon, do we? And if it's not being acted upon, that is, by definition, surely a waste of money.
I'm sure you would have to ask them that question. That would be impossible for me to say. I don't work for them, and I've no idea where that information has gone, but you would have to ask them.
But then why are you saying...
It's available for people to view.
Oh, Diana. And the thing is, there's going to be another review that's probably going to cost a few million. Is that a good spend of money?
Well, you have to understand that any consultation
Diana,
or review
you've said that
costs
6
money.
times now.
You can't ask people what they want.
But why are we asking?
Money.
Why are we asking people what we want? Why don't we invest the money in making hospitals better? Why are we spending millions of pounds asking people whether they think it's a good idea to have this review? That seems a complete waste of money.
I don't think any consultation or engagement is a waste of money because how else are you going to find out what local people want? And it's better for people to have a say than no say at all.
OK, let's focus on Bedfordshire. What do local people want in Bedfordshire?
Local people in Bedfordshire want a local hospital. They want an A&E service. They want children's services.
I could have told you that.
Service.
I could have told you that, and I'd have charged you a tenner. And that would have been overcharging. It doesn't cost you $2 million to find that out, does it?
I would imagine not, but it's entirely down to the people that are conducting that survey or conducting that consultation. I'm sure they're all conscious of the budget that they have, but you have to talk to local people and you have to find out.
It doesn't cost you £2 million. Do you just in conclusion, I'm very confused and frustrated by this, but we'll persevere. Do you think the £2 million was well spent?
That really would be difficult for me to say.
What do you think? Do you think it was a good £2 million for that survey you've got there?
It depends, because you've got to look at the wider picture here. For example, the money was spent on a very wide area.
Okay. But do you think it was good value for money?
It will depend on the outcome of the review.
And when are we getting the outcome of the review?
You would have to ask them.
And what would be a good outcome for you to go, yeah, that £2 million was well spent?
That you listen to the voice of local people and what they were saying.
Well, Diana... That's Diana Blackman, Chief Executive of Healthwatch Central Bedfordshire. Wow.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
What are you doing in the studio, Bets?
Nothing.
Maybe you should get
Hang
out.
around.
You don't just hang around. I'm trying
to do
some award-winning radio.
Really?
Well, I'm having a go.
Tips.
Some what?
Tips.
Go on then. Give us your top tip.
Of award-winning radio?
Yeah.
Never eat anything a listener sends in.
That's very true. That is very, very true. We all remember Mike Mendoza in 1987 when he had a cake spiked with LSD. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give me a call. Police academies and toilets. I know. We had the Herts Police and Crime Commissioner, David Lloyd, coming in earlier on in the show. And he was telling me about his plans to start a citizens' police academy, which will teach residents how and when to intervene in crime situations and offer short, sharp training sessions that would give people the skills to keep themselves and their neighbours safe. I'm assuming that means karate, doesn't it? Albert's in Kettering. Good morning, Albert.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. What do you reckon to this?
Well, I'm facing the axe from my job at the moment.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I've spoken to you before in the past. But basically, I work in meat, and
you remind us what you do in meat.
Yeah, do you remember? I put basically the public call them meat nappies, but I put the nappies on the meat.
Yeah.
But they're basically replacing me with a machine.
Yeah.
Because the machine can knock out 2,000 meat nappies in an hour, and I can do a little bit less than that.
How many can you do in an hour?
4. So they're going to replace me. So I heard David on the radio, so David Lloyd, and me and my friends were so
I don't think he's been knighted yet. It's not Sir David. Not yet. No.
Well,
it's on his list of things to do.
He should get a knighthood for sure. I think the man's a visionary. We're going to quit our jobs. We're going to become volunteers, and I think we're perfect for this police academy. There's 5 of us.
Right.
And we're all going to do it. Even one of us is even a female. She's very short. She's got a very high pitched voice. I've got a friend who's huge. He's very quiet, but he's unbelievably strong. And then there's another friend who does all sorts of silly voices. He does like sounds of helicopters and stuff with his voice. And then there's me. I'm like the Joker. And there's another guy. He's into guns. He's a bit odd. So we're gonna sign up. And we're going to become volunteers, and we're going to patrol our neighbourhood.
So you'll be like citizens on patrol, I guess.
Exactly, that's exactly what we're going to be.
Yeah. Well, that's very, very noble of you. Do you think that all of you? I mean, the lady you talked about who's got the high pitched voice. Really? Do you think she could cope in a high stress situation?
It's very funny because she's very, very timid. But when you push her too far, she goes ballistic. She's like a bomb. You wouldn't want to go near her.
Well, it's great that you're volunteering to do this, Albert, and I'm sure you'll have some fantastic adventures in the police academy.
I'm looking forward to it and protecting our area and our people, because that's what it's about, Ian. It's about people stepping up.
Stepping up to the mark. Well, Albert, listen, I'm glad you've turned a negative into a positive, and thank you very much for letting me know about that.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, there you go. That's exciting news, isn't it? Albert is all... He's all set to join David Lloyd's Citizens Police Academy. Well done. Have you got what Albert's got? Not an impending sacking from your job, of course, but have you got would you get involved? Would you like to be involved in this? 08459 455 555.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
Shall we have a little look at the front pages of the newspapers? Yes, let's. The Daily Telegraph MP uses... Oh, they've got a poppy on the Daily Telegraph, but it's not set right. The leaf, as we all know, is supposed to be pointing to 11, and it's not. It's pointing to 1:30. MP uses political contacts to further business empire. A senior Conservative MP offered to use his political contacts to set up business deals with foreign officials and ministers in return for being paid hundreds of thousands of pounds. Mark Pritchard, the Conservative MP for the Wrekin. What? Is that a place? Anyway, I know the mayor, I know the Prime Minister, I know the Speaker. My network I will use. News has been really boring recently. What's going on with news? We need something more in news. The Guardian. Hospital faces claim of cancer care cover-up. Reports that staff falsified records could trigger criminal investigation. And there's a picture of one of these... now, this is a cracking story. The son of German of Nazi, in his back room he had hundreds of works of art, Picasso's and other works of art. There's a story. You don't get things hidden away in secret rooms anymore. The Independent. Germany vents its fury at British spying operation. Oh, get over it, Germany. For goodness sakes, you're probably doing the same to us, or you would if you had the know-how. You're just jealous that we've got better computers and smaller microphones. Britain's ambassador was called in by the German foreign minister yesterday after the Independent disclosed allegations that a secret listening post is operating from its embassy in Berlin, just yards from the German parliament and Angela Merkel's offices. You're just jealous, for goodness sakes. 08459 455 555. The Times. Oh, snow. County Durham. So it's not England. Woke up yesterday to find their village covered in 2 inches of snow. Hospitals full to bursting. Elderly drive record admissions as row escalates over NHS redundancies. Hospitals are at bursting point, with admissions at record levels. A huge rise in the number of frail, elderly patients going into hospital means that admissions are a third higher than a decade ago. I told you it wasn't particularly exciting, didn't I? 08459 455 555. The Daily Express. Wonder cure for killer flu. Don't get too excited. You have to drink a pickled turnip. I think I'd rather have the flu. I think I'd rather have the flu if I had the choice. The Daily Mail. Boy victim of hospital in police probe. The mother of a 4-year-old boy who died in a hospital embroiled in a cancer care cover-up has condemned the NHS Trust's failings. In The Sun, it's got those 2 girls on the front page who went to a fancy dress party as the Twin Towers. Idiots. Glenn's in Leighton Buzzard. Morning, Glenn.
Morning, Ian.
Glenn, what can I do for you?
The chappie that you were just talking about, the police academy or the citizens academy.
That was Albert, who is very sadly losing his job working in meat, but him and his friends have decided to take it on the chin, turn a negative into a positive, and they're going to volunteer for this citizens police academy that David Lloyd is hoping to set up.
But did you realise that the people that he described were people that were in the police academy films?
Huh?
Officer Hightower was the big, strong guy.
Yeah.
You had the guy who was mad on guns.
Right.
And you had the little black lady who had the high-pitched voice.
Now, he didn't say that his friend was black.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying there was a female, right? I'm not being racist. There was a female.
She was black. Yes, it's a good film.
Okay. There was also Jones, who made all the helicopter noises and the machine noises.
Oh, yes.
And then there was the comedian guy who was the one that picked on the sergeant.
Well,
so there were 5 people.
Mahoney, of course. Well, that
Mahoney.
if that's... I hadn't made the connection. But if that's the case, then surely Albert and his friends will be perfect for a police academy.
Absolutely brilliant.
Nice one. I hadn't made that connection. Glenn, thank you very much indeed for pointing that out. That's a coincidence, isn't it? It's got to be a coincidence, Catherine.
Yeah, and they've got some great skills.
Always need to be able to make a helicopter sound effects. Or machine gun fire.
Criminals are very easy to fool.
Yeah, they are. Well, thank you, Glenn, for that. I hadn't made that connection. Did anyone else make that connection? That one slipped past me. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give me a call, you can go to facebook.com/BBC3CR, or you can send me a text, 81333. Start your text, 3CR. Now, we've been talking about legal highs. They are available for sale in Milton Keynes Market. It was quite tricky this morning. We spoke to a copper, didn't we? I think he agreed. Have I got this right, Catherine? I think he said he was going to phone up the market today.
Yes.
After much hectoring, they were going to have a look at the studies and the results, and then they were going to arrange a meeting. When all he needs to do is phone up the market.
They've done raids.
Yes.
But they hadn't spoken to the market manager.
Just phone up the market manager and say, look, these people aren't doing anything illegal, but you're getting bad press out of it. It might be attracting the wrong element. There is a stall, or maybe stalls, that are selling these legal highs. Get rid of them.
It's potentially harming young people. We had that young lady who was hospitalised for smoking something odd.
Yeah, exactly. So but anyway, I think that gentleman is going to be phoning them up. But maybe if we put a call into Milton Keynes Market, we should have a little call and see get a statement from them. Not a statement. Get them on. Get them on. Let's find out what they're going to do about it. Justin Dealey, you've been taking legal highs this morning to find out exactly what's the fuss.
Well, I would actually say, you know, working with you sometimes is a legal high. I mean, sometimes it can be a real pain in the backside. But, 9 times out of 10, working on the radio, having a job that you enjoy, that for me is a high. I'm
going to start a band. I'm going to start 2 bands. One's going to be called Illegal High. I'm going to play dirty rock. One's going to be called Legal High, and we'll sing Christian songs.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah, that's
I reckon that might take off,
I think it might do. Justin, but you've been out talking to people like this, haven't you?
Yes, 3 very different answers here about what gives people an instant lift. Here's what people had to say.
What gives you a lift?
I am a believer in God. So my spirituality is enough for me not to want to take drugs.
So when you think about God, that gives you a high. That's an instant buzz for you.
Yes, it does. Gives me a high. I read the Bible, and the Bible tells me what I can do to give myself strength to make me feel strong. I don't need to depend on physical things like drugs. It's for a short time, isn't it?
So for anybody who is taking drugs or taking legal highs, you would say, listen, forget that. Don't waste your money. Go and find God.
I wouldn't say that straight away. Yes, because they've got a problem, and you need to be able to understand what the problem is first. Do you get me?
I like you. So you're a positive person, aren't you?
But it is. Well, how else would
we go and hang out?
No, go away.
Go away? I thought it was getting on well. I want to know, sir, what gives you a lift? What gives you a boost?
Football.
Football, really?
Sport. Just participate. It doesn't happen anymore because of video games and that, but people need to get back on the playing field and play football.
So when you go and play football, straight away, if you're feeling low, when you go onto that pitch, you're transformed.
Yeah, it's the best way of socialising as well for people our age, because there's not much to do for teenagers and young adults, but football's a good way to get into it.
Okay, and just lastly, the killer question, which football team do you support?
Luton Town.
What a high that is, going to Kenilworth Road.
Used to be.
Very good point, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Pat, what gives you an instant lift, an instant buzz, and it's legal?
See my grandchildren. They always cheer me up, make me laugh.
How many have you got?
2.
And how old are they?
One's 5 and one's 8.
Keeping you busy then, I presume?
Yes.
And Christmas time, just describe how special that is for you as a grandparent.
Oh, it makes Christmas totally different. It's something to look forward to rather than just adults. If you've got children make Christmas.
And before you had grandchildren, I'm sure it was in your mind what it may feel like to be a grandparent. When that day actually came, describe what it was like when you actually became a grandparent.
It was dramatic, really, because I was actually there when the second grandchild was born. And my daughter was obviously screaming and grabbing onto me, but the moment that she came, it was fantastic.
Did you cry?
Yes.
Well, there you go. Lots of different stories there, definitely.
Well, 3 different stories. God, Luton Town and grandchildren. I don't think you can get more variety than that, but I think, 9 times out of 10, I think when it comes to feeling good, having a legal high, you certainly wouldn't find me on Milton Keynes Market, put it that way.
Just had a message on Facebook from Maggie Hanson. 20 minutes ago she posted this. I just had to switch off the show, Iain. Devil's advocate is one thing. Continually and deliberately ignoring or misunderstanding a listener's point of view for that long was downright annoying. And I don't just switch on. Well, I'm looking at my list of what's happened. That 20 minutes ago, that was Albert, the meat packer who's losing his job. I don't get what that what she's going on about.
Do you know what? I'm going to be nice to you right now. I'm going to be nice to you for once.
Thank you,
Ian,
mate.
you are misunderstood.
Aren't I just?
No, you are, seriously. I think you are. I think, on your programme, you often take people's cases very, very seriously. And some people, for whatever reason, they just misunderstand you.
Don't they just? And so, can I push that further? I'd say some people take advantage of me.
Let's not go too far.
Hey, okay, steady on. You've been talking about toilets as well this morning, Justin.
Yeah.
We give you all the glamorous jobs.
Yes, absolutely.
Today. Oh, look, the jokes have come out on Facebook. Justin Dealey, the number 2 presenter. There's another one here. Justin gets all the big jobs. Drake says those toilets that you talked about, the Ashton Square public toilets, they've saved him many times.
Have they?
Well, I'm looking at a picture of these toilets. They look nice, but what was so magical about them that made them win a Platinum Award?
Well, I don't know. The Loo of the Year Award 2013, they are judged on what? Signage, and the signs were pretty good. The maintenance, we spoke to Gary, he looks after them, he's in there all the time. The fixtures and the fittings, they were all there, they worked. The cleanliness, it was clean, it didn't smell. The security, I don't know about that. But the management, again, people were there. So if they're judged on those things, they did pretty well. And I think, whenever I go into a public toilet, they're not particularly nice, are they? They do smell, they're pretty grotty, a lot of them are closed down. That, in my view, not the BBC's, was a very clean toilet.
Now, you, of course, you go to a lot of clubs. You're a young guy, you like to go and hang out. What I don't like about clubs, well, one of the many, many hundreds of things I don't like about clubs and posh, swanky bars, is when you go to the toilet, and it's the thing, you walk into the toilet and you see a little gentleman sat on a stool by the sink. You think, oh, for goodness sakes. So you have to do your business in front of him. I'm always worried he's going to come and lend a hand. And then you walk over to the sink, and he starts turning the tap on for you.
Oh, I don't get it.
And then he gets the soap for you, and then he hands you a paper towel, and then he expects you to pay him for the privilege of that.
Well, somebody said to me, only last weekend, actually, and they put some soap in my hand, which was very, very nice. I could have pressed the button, but he put it into my hand. And then he said, that'll be £1.
Whoa.
I said, well, what? I said, is that voluntary? Well, yes. I said, well, I'm not going to pay £1 then. I said, thank you very much. I might be back a bit later on. If I'm in that toilet, and for whatever reason, it's been a long evening, and the aftershave that I put on 5 hours ago has worn off, I might fancy a little spray. And yes, I'll pay for that, but I'm not going to pay £1 for washing my hands.
I have been using the toilets on my own since I was 16 years old. I know pretty much what to do in there. I do that thing, though, that you just said you do. I always say, got no change. I'll be coming back in a little bit. I'll be coming back. I'm not going to go back in there. I avoid it like the plague.
But then, here's the big thing, okay? Because then if you need the toilet, then what? Because you've got to go back in there.
A bucket.
A bucket?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you're going to be arrested.
Catherine, do you get those things in Do you get those people in ladies' toilets? Really? At what point do things get so bad that you think the only job I can do is being a toilet attendant?
When you're working with you.
I'm talking to Catherine.
Oh, sorry.
It's a job, it's an honest living, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know why you need lollies, and I don't know what the lollies are for. That's always puzzled me.
I don't want to suck on anything when I'm in the toilet. It's a lolly. Why would you give you a lolly, Justin? It can't be hygienic.
Let's do this one weekend. Let's go and speak to one of these people and find out why they are doing that job. But also, how much are these people getting paid? I mean, it was my understanding a few years ago that in actual fact they don't get paid hardly anything, but what they do get paid is the tips. That's why they're asking for you to pay £1 for you to wash your hands. I could be wrong.
I would imagine that was the case.
Or are they taking advantage of drunk people?
Who doesn't?
It's taken a very dark turn, hasn't it, at the end of the show? Can only apologise. Listen, I've been jotting down what's going to go in the podcast this week. Quite a bit from today's show. There's been some humdingers in this show. If you want to go and download the podcast, do go to the BBC Three Counties website, and there is a little podcast link there that you can click on. Or if you're on iTunes, go to iTunes and Iain Lee BBC. If you type that in, it'll pop up. A new one comes out every Friday. It's about between 45 minutes and an hour long. That's it. That's your lot. JVS is up next until 6 o'clock tomorrow from me. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian.